What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with Brady Penn and a few other guests backstage right now. Brady, come on now. That was an elite game at the end of this week one slate. What are your initial thoughts? The
Yeah,
Buffalo shirt is out.
actually I do gotta say to those of you that are unfamiliar, I'm not a Buffalo fan, but my lovely fiance Anna saw these and thought they were cute, and she decided to buy me and her both matching Buffalo Bills crew necks. So I decided, you know what, we'll rock it tonight. She wanted the twins, so I ended up wearing it, even though I was actually kind of hoping Baltimore would win. Um, but yeah, that was an insane game, a lot to unpack, and two of the three, some people would tell you the two best. I personally wouldn't, quarterbacks in the NFL going at it tonight. And it is crazy because Derrick Henry had an amazing game. And yet Derrick Henry is the reason that they lost this game tonight.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're going to put a guy in a ball's hands to go close the game out, it's Derrick Henry. Like, no questions asked. You
But I
put Derrick.
disagree. I think they should have put the ball in Lamar's hands, to
Well, I
be
mean,
honest with you. Like,
I'm talking more of like running back, run out the clock, like a read
oh, for
option.
sure. Oh, for sure. For
Perfect,
sure.
perfect like system. But I mean, it's crazy. Week one had a ton of stuff, and obviously we're gonna start with the Baltimore game here. We're gonna welcome in David here. David is a big time Buffalo Bills fan, big time Bills writer for us. David, why don't you kind of go over your initial thoughts, the roller coaster emotions you guys went through this week, and go from there?
That's an understatement to say the least. I was actually very scared with the additions of Jair Alexander in the Ravens secondary, and we're without first round pick Maxwell Harrison, without Tre'Davious White. So we're relying on two six rounders, Christian Benford, who's proven himself, but Dorian Strong, who's a rookie this year, also a six rounder. And the first half was not looking good. The secondary looked abysmal. Zay Flowers was shredding us. And I didn't even expect Zay Flowers to do that this game. He shredded us. Derrick Henry shredded us. All hope was lost. Bills fans were leaving the stadium in the fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, Josh Allen did what Josh Allen does. He waved his magic wand and led a comeback of the century.
I I mean, listen, it was absolute magic for what the Bills were able to pull off there, and the fumble basically changed momentum. Even when they scored that touchdown, it felt like, you know, uh, it wasn't necessarily a game until that point happened. But I think the interesting part I felt like changed it was the missed PAT because the Bills didn't get that 2 point conversion. It was a 9 point game. Baltimore goes down, scores a touchdown, misses the PAT. Then all Buffalo needs is 15 points. That part I felt like opened the door. It was a two
Yeah.
score game already, and even when they scored, it was still a two-score game, and it wasn't necessarily a knockout punch like many thought. And all the Bills had to do was score and a stop, and they were back in the game. There was so much time left on the clock, but I was impressed with how Baltimore came out of this game. They were fast, they were flying around. Their run game was unbelievable, and the thing that I mean, Brady, I've told you this multiple times. The thing that Baltimore does is they match up well with Buffalo in terms of their run defense, and they're able to run over Buffalo. But that doesn't matter when Josh Allen turns into a superhuman and absolutely shreds the Ravens defense, who honestly is one of the more confusing units in the NFL because they have the most talent. But it seems like when they need pass rushing most, it's just not there. What are your thoughts on this Ravens defense roller coaster we kind of saw tonight?
I'm gonna have a take here, and I might upset David a little bit with this, but it's not discrediting Buffalo at all with this one. I think I wouldn't even say you feel better than a Bills fan right now, but I think if you're a Ravens fan, you should still feel pretty good after this game. It was a really bad collapse, and Derrick Henry with the bad fumble, the missed PAT. It was a lot of things that snowballed, and it's really cool. Might I mention that last home opener in this stadium in Orchard Park for the Bills to get that kind of win is a really cool moment. But I think that the Ravens showed they're a really dominant type of team, and I think Josh Allen is a dominant type of player. I worry watching this game about the rest of the roster coming around and playing to his level throughout the rest of the year. I think Khalil Shakir is a guy that Josh has a bunch of chemistry with. James Cook is going to have better games than he had tonight. I know he had the one breakaway run, but the Ravens kind of held him in check. But the thing for the Bills is going to be, can Keon Coleman continue to build this season. He showed a lot in the second half. I thought Keon Coleman, Josh Allen showed a lot of trust in him on those sideline throws, those 50-50 balls. I think that's something you look to build off of if you're the Buffalo Bills. But like David mentioned, it's the secondary. I don't like this secondary. And even though Baltimore collapsed, I like Baltimore's secondary a lot more. I love the duo of Lamar and Derrick Henry. And I think that this game is going to set the tone a lot for this one seed, especially when you look at the schedules that these two teams have. Ravens have a more treacherous schedule than Buffalo does. Now Buffalo has this head-to-head win tiebreaker holding already over Baltimore with the one seed. I
And a
know it's
weaker
only
division.
exactly. I know it's only week one, but I think this game will play a major role when it comes to that home field advantage. I still feel like the Ravens might be the better team, but I think Josh Allen is incredible. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen, especially just in mine, yours, and David's time watching the game. I know I wasn't around for Dan Marino and Joe Montana, but Josh Allen's one of the 10 best that I've seen with my own eyes. He was phenomenal tonight. Lamar was also phenomenal. Lamar lost this game with a .69 EPA per play. Josh Allen, I believe, was .31, which is a great number. Like Josh Allen played an elite game. Whoops.
Dude, that
Lamar
guy was cracked.
Lamar Jackson had a phenomenal game, very efficient. Didn't I think he had like half the plays that Josh Allen had, but very efficient, .69 EPA per play. And I think that this could be just like last year, where we see these two teams match up again in the playoffs. I think this could be a matchup that we get once again, and it's still a very clear top three in the AFC. I don't know how you order them right now. They all had very high highs, very low lows this weekend. Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. Those are your three. Those are the three teams that have a chance to come out of the AFC.
One thing that's similar between all three of these teams is they all played horrible defense at times this weekend, which is
Yeah,
something that
definitely.
you couldn't say over the past few seasons. Is that the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills defenses look like bottom 10 units in the NFL, and you could argue that all three of them looked like that for at least a half over this weekend. Obviously, the Chiefs was like over the course of a full. I mean, you could argue the Bills was over the course of a full
Yo,
game.
Tom, why do we have this John Marshall clown in chat right now talking about he thought Travis Hunter would be good? He's Chiefs. You saw him play a game of football, buddy. He had 6 catches. Trevor Lawrence missed him on a ball, and nobody knows who you are. Please
Dude,
be
that interception was crazy. That Jimmy Horn
It was,
interception.
and Travis had a touchdown. Trevor missed him. Like Travis Hunter played great. I don't know why. Of all my takes, I've had plenty of misses. Travis Hunter isn't one you need to pinpoint, buddy. I just think you should just watch it, just a little bit.
If I can interject real quick, it's ironic Travis Hunter gets brought up because I got offered Tua and Travis Hunter already for Aaron Rodgers in a redraft league.
Oh, man. We're gonna get to Tua and Aaron Rodgers, but I think the final thoughts closing up on this Bills game before we let you go backstage for a little bit, David, is the MVP race. I mean, listen, it's gonna be a battle of the AFC, guys, is what it seems like. It's gonna be you have Lamar Jackson, crazy performance in that game. Obviously, Josh Allen just basically made his MVP case right there with that game. Everybody's going to remember that one. Justin Herbert came out with a statement, if Patrick Mahomes can carry this Chiefs without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice for 5 games, we'll see what happens. And then, you even mix in a guy, I don't know, dare I say, Aaron Rodgers entering the MVP conversation.
No, stop.
Dare I say?
No, you don't dare you say. It's the New York Jets.
In the race?
No, it's the New York Jets. He was stat padding like crazy. He didn't look that good to me. I
thought he looked pretty good.
I think he looked a lot better than he did last year.
He looked pretty. He didn't look MVP caliber.
No.
But also, I want to just add in. We talk about the Chargers. We talk about the Chiefs. I know the Broncos didn't pop out as much as people expected to. But do you still think they're at least a threat to the AFC West?
They essentially turned the ball over 6 times today and still won by 8 points. They had the 3 Bo Nix turnovers. They had 2 turnover on downs, and then they had a Marvin Mims muff punt, and they still won by 8. So,
of all the elite teams we talk about, the Broncos defense that we expect to be elite was elite all 4 quarters.
I mean, it's pretty.
It
easy
was
to be elite with
Nick
Cam
Bonito
Ward throwing from a 3/4 arm slot and missing every wide open receiver. That was
right. Nick Bonito got paid and kept looking like he deserved to get paid. And I mean, that secondary looked really good. Riley Moss had a heck of a game today for the Broncos. That defense, like you said, David, looks really legit still.
All right, David, we're going to let you go real quick. You can stay backstage. We'll bring you in a little bit. We're going to bring in Dale here and Dan real quick for a little 4 box right here. Guys, what is going on? we're talking a little bit Broncos and Titans while we're on the conversation. I know this isn't one of the more popular games, but I think we should just get this out of the way. Cam Ward's debut. Dan, you worked for PFF a little bit. What did you see from him? Personally, for me, it looked like he was completely overwhelmed, and his mechanics aren't good. The way he
He
was
was
throwing,
getting sold. What are you talking
dude.
about?
Brady, did you see some of his throws today?
Did you see some of the drops that they had?
No. Watch how he was throwing those receivers too. Like, it was too hard.
But go
His
watch
arm
it.
slot was too roll, and it wasn't getting right where it needed
Go
to.
look
Yeah,
at
Calvin
Brian
Ridley sold
Callahan.
multiple times, but watching Cam Ward might have been one of the more frustrating things of the day. Not as frustrating as Tua, but it was
I
pretty
disagree.
hard to watch.
I disagree. I'm gonna let Dan take it, but I disagree.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan a little bit. His arm slot, you could tell he was throwing a little sidearm, kind of like Phil Rivers. That was surprising, but I think the other thing too was he was kind of like he's got to work on his touch when he's throwing. Like that last drive, he was whipping it in there, and I know whoever he threw to was just out
Ridley.
through his outstretched arm that last drive, but he had Ridley hit him right in the hands and Ridley dropped it. So I mean, but my main takeaway from this game was it just felt like Denver gave him so many opportunities to win. They were like, "Hey, Bo Nix, 3 interceptions today? Muff pumped." They were like, "Please, Tennessee, please take this game from us. We don't want to win." And Tennessee couldn't capitalize.
Tennessee was like,
shocked.
we need a player in the next year's draft. You guys can have this one.
I thought
need a
Brian
receiver.
Callahan was really bad in this game.
I thought he was bad. I thought he didn't do Cam Ward any favors for what
Yeah, he
they were
didn't.
doing.
Nothing was easy for Cam Ward today. Like, you need to get your rookie first round pick, get him some, easy completion, some easy throws, get him in a rhythm. I thought they did a really, really bad job of that.
No, and they were.
By the
down
way,
by-
is John Marshall? This got to be Chris's burner, I think, right? Like,
I don't think John Marshall is not Chris's burner. It is not Chris's burner. I can guarantee you that. Chris only will.
he
pop
sounds
in
just
Bad
like
Boy.
him. Like, is there just a bunch of like Illinois like little hater variants out there?
I don't know who John Marshall towing is, but if Bad Boy CC pops in here, we will see that the Drake May debate will be coming in a little bit. But Dale, we'll take it to you to close the Broncos Titans game. What did you see from Denver and Tennessee that makes you concerned or worried for either of these sides? Oh, Dale, you're on mute right now. Dale, you're on mute.
All right. Hello.
I got you.
Okay, my bad, guys. I've been waiting on this all day. I've been at work. Real quick, I'd like to say, Michael, one day you're gonna be watching our shows on the regular. We're gonna bring you on the show. Just know that I always had faith in you and that I never wanted to trade you. I just had to get out of the way. So back to the show. Me personally, I just want to touch on what you guys were just talking about real quick. I agree. I feel like rookie quarterbacks coming in. I consistently see LaShawn McCoy always say that rookie season he doesn't grade rookies because coming from making that jump from college to the NFL is so hard. And so, like you guys said, Brian, that's really on the coach to put you where you're comfortable while also giving you adding some things here and there to where you can grow at. So I just saw that. Like you said, it's like he went 12 for 28. That's 43% completion percentage. We can blame some of that on the drops and stuff like that as well. Also, but it's a mix of that along with you got away with some of these things in college. So you're going to have to grow out of them. You're going to have that coach give you those easy passes, those quick slants, those meshes.
While you're talking about that college part too, there was trying to remember what it was. I think it was maybe an intentional grounding play he had late in the game that they were in not intentional grounding. It was 2 sacks. They started in Denver field position down 1 point, and he took 2 really bad sacks that knocked them out of field goal range to take a lead because he was trying to improvise too much, hold onto the ball, and try to make a play. Like, that's kind of what we saw from Caleb Williams last year too, where he never necessarily had that jump in his first year because, he was trying to do a little bit too much, not get the ball out of his hands, right? Do you think potentially that's a Brian Callahan thing, or do you think that's a Cam Ward thing that he has to figure out?
Honestly, and this may be a little off the wall, but I think it's a thing where guys like Patrick Mahomes come along and they kind of spoil us and they make us forget that these guys are transitioning from college to the NFL because Patrick Mahomes plays the last game in his rookie season. He comes back the next season, first full starter, MVP, 50 touchdowns. So it's like sometimes a guy like that, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allen had a kind of rough first couple of years, and then he came on. But guys like Patrick Mahomes and to a certain degree Lamar Jackson and among others can make us forget how tough it is on average for these guys to transition. And so in these rookie seasons, just like you said, like a Caleb Williams, it's like, oh, well, they attach that label generational. First, along with being the number one pick, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. Well, we still have to give him a chance, give him time to grow because he's been in college for X amount of years. This is the NFL. Like they always say, mortgages, tuitions, everything like that. Your life depends on this. So, and you're not the only guy. You needing this, needing that. It don't matter. It's how bad do you want it and how bad do you want to, how bad do you want to improve to the point where you can't be denied. So I just feel like he's gonna be okay. I mean, it's week one. I like seeing a game like this, it doesn't scare me because it's your first game in the NFL. You can have a great training camp, you can have these great practices, they can share all the highlights on Twitter that I sometimes repost, but it doesn't matter when it comes down to you line up against a defense that has a different jersey on than you, and they're there to get a W just like you. Somebody got to lose, and at the end of the day, it just happened to be you. So
yeah, 100%. All right, Dale and Dan, we're gonna bring you guys back in for a second here. Brady, I want to talk to you, and Anna brought it up in chat. Shout out to Mrs. Queen Anna here, future Mrs. Penn in a little bit. Young Ho Koo sold for the Falcons when they were trying to find a way to come back late in a big battle for this division. What were your thoughts on the Bucks and Falcons this week? And I think me and you both agreed this was a back and forward. Who were we going to pick before the week? What were your thoughts on both teams in this one?
I kind of wanted to change my pick to the Falcons before the game, but I stuck with the Buccaneers just because of the experience and the roster talent as a whole. And I honestly thought the Falcons deserved to win this game. I thought the Falcons played really well. I thought there were a couple. What I noticed with the Falcons, I don't know if this is a direct reflection of Raheem Morris yet or not. Very undisciplined. Lots of sloppy penalties, lots of bad technique, especially in the secondary. And I thought offensively they did more than enough to win, even though they couldn't really run the ball. You had the explosive at the beginning of the game to Bijan Robinson on a pass play. Michael Penix played really, really well. He looked good today. You saw him stretch out on that drive to get the touchdown. And I thought the Falcons played really, really well offensively. I thought the defense really wasn't even terrible. I mean, they held Baker Mayfield to sub 200 yards. They didn't rush the passer well. It was a little concerning for me to see Jalen Walker and James Pierce not really do much, without Tristan Wirfs playing and the Bucks kind of having a reshifted offensive line. But I thought in the secondary they played fine. I thought the Falcons very easily could have won this game, and if it went to OT, who knows what happened. This is sort of like what I would say for the Ravens right now. If I was a Falcons fan, I'm frustrated with the loss, but holistically, I'm encouraged by what the team looked like, and especially what Michael Penix Jr. looked like. And I think that next week, Sunday Night Football against the Vikings, even more of the nation will be woken up to what Michael Penix is, and Falcons might be able to get a primetime victory, but we shall see.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting one for sure.
Oh, by the way, let me add. I know this is one of your guys too. Emeka Egbuka is a stud.
Oh, dude, absolute dog in there. He was a for sure must start this week. Great matchup for him. I mean, I was kind of impressed with the Falcons D. I mean, they played well a majority of this game. They made it tough for the Buccaneers. I know Tristan Wirfs being out is a big time loss for the Bucks and their ground game, but their ground game was inefficient the entire day. The passing game was held in check majority of the time, and we know how deadly that unit was last year. Offensively, it was interesting in terms of kind of what we saw from the Falcons. I thought their passing attack was up and down. It felt like throughout this game, you'd have a drive where it felt like, man, they're cruising along, things are really in rhythm, everything's going well, and then you have a drive where you're just sitting there scratching your head, like, why are you not trying to mix in a run at this?
You got to remember though, they were also missing Darnell Mooney too.
That I agree with that. I mean, Drake London saw 15 targets in this game. We know,
and he's going to keep seeing. I've been telling people he averaged like 18 targets a game, and the 3 starts for
trust
Penix
me, I know my fantasy numbers with London and Penix. 30% plus target share when he's the quarterback. I mean, it's going to be crazy what a season-long numbers if he doesn't miss any time with this shoulder injury, which I don't think he will. But I Dude, I don't know what it is about the Falcons offense. Like since Zach Robinson has taken over as the offensive coordinator, but they have these highs where like I'm like, okay, the Falcons are going to be a top 10 offense consistently, but they have also drives where I'm like, these play calls make no sense. They have a lot of talent, and it's just really frustrating. And it never feels like they put together like a 30+ point game that just looks clean. There's always like bumps in the road, it feels like, with the Falcons, and I'm kind of worried it's going to hold them back from achieving maybe a division title. And obviously a loss to the Bucks, like on week 1, it's not the end of the world. There's still time to gain ground in the division. It's a long season, but
We both have them as a wild card type team, anyways. Though, like the division isn't really the goal for them. I think a playoff appearance is the goal.
well, I mean, last year kind of if you win the division, you're in the playoffs and there's no other wild card spots. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, we're going to talk about some other games here, but I think the Falcons are a team that I just don't think I can get a good read on. They're just very hit or miss for me, and I feel like they could play up to competition or they could just play down to competition and make it really scary for a close game. But I mean, the Bucks, they just seems like they take care of business all the time.
Yeah, I definitely, and you could tell they're a team that's been there. And by the way, I think that our boy John needs to hop in the film room and maybe watch a little All 22 and a little less Twitter clips because he thinks that Michael Penix and Drake May aren't good players. So,
All right, let's bring in Dan here, and we're gonna talk a little bit of quarterbacks here. Kyler Murray got the job done against the Cardinals today, and Geno Smith also got the job done against the Patriots today. Right, two situations where it feels like it's a win now mode for both teams, and both teams that you cover. What were your thoughts on both of these games?
Yeah, I'll start with Arizona first. They struggled. They struggled early. If well, this morning it came out that Kyler Murray was dealing with an illness, and he was taking year 7 personal. He keeps bringing up Michael Jordan, and then he's talking about an illness, and I thought that was pretty funny. So I was like, hey, today's going to be his flu game, but but no, that the offense struggled. The first quarter they only got 3 points. I was surprised they couldn't run the ball at all. Just nothing was clicking. They needed a spark, and he looked to none other than second year wide receiver Marvin. And as soon as they started throwing deep, it opened up the running game, and then they started the roll. But the Cardinals, it got interesting at the end. I don't know if you caught the ending because
Yeah,
they
no,
almost
it
lost
did.
that game.
They were my survivor pick this week because I'm
Yeah,
not going to pick the Cardinals much this week. I'm like, dude,
it,
are the Saints about to pull some crazy stuff out and I'm
it,
out
it,
week
it
1?
I thought he caught it. I thought that guy caught it, and they got broken up at the end. And yeah,
Are
they
you at
probably
all concerned about what the Cardinals shown today, especially on the defensive side of the ball a little bit? And they were very up and down, hit or miss, but
yeah.
they weren't very turnover opportunistic. They never had like game-changing plays on that defensive side of the ball. They were just kind of steady on that side against a really bad Saints offense. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just think it's more of a Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore and Jonathan Gannon, they go back. They were Cowboys, Eagles back in the day a few years ago. And Kellen Moore's had Jonathan Gannon's number. He knows his weaknesses in the defense. So I think they were just getting rid of the ball quick. It was just a lot of dump offs to Kamara, a lot of quick passes to the flats. So he's just got his number. I was just surprised though that we couldn't get after the passer. The Cardinals couldn't. There was one sack, Baron Browning with that, and then the corners too. They played physical. Buda Baker led the team in tackles. I was happy to see that, and Will Johnson. I know everybody online is talking about
yeah.
Will Johnson. He had a high grade on PFF, and he had an interception taken away from penalties today too. So his stat line could have looked a little better. But I think the defense will get better over time. It's a young group. The back end's my concern, but I think the front's going to carry this team this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Cardinals progress. I think obviously this was a game that we expected them to take care of business on. Let's switch it
Yeah.
out to New England versus Las Vegas, the other team we cover. And I'll show this to Brady because Brady's a Patriots fan too. Brady, what did you see from
Oh,
the Patriots side of things? And then Dan, I'll take it to you for the Raiders side of things.
Yeah, so for the Pats, obviously, it was really up and down and mostly down in the second half. I don't think Drake May played a good game today. I know Chris is trying to say that I pretty much thought that. I gave Drake May like a C plus for today. I thought that there were some good throws, and I thought that, the offensive line still wasn't where it needs to be. They were better than they were last year, but the interception was really the one issue I had with Drake. I think Drake sailed a couple of throws, and that was the one
yeah.
that ended up costing him. And I think that there's room to improve. There's room to build. Kayshawn Booty looked really good. 100-yard game today for him, albeit against a weaker Raiders secondary. But yeah, Drake, I know people like John that don't know ball think that Drake May is just cooked because he didn't play his best today. Today was his 14th game as an NFL player. He hasn't even played a full season's worth of games, and everybody knew that Drake was not the most pro-ready quarterback coming into the class last year, but he might be the most toolsy. And I think that if they lose to the Dolphins next week, it's time to recalibrate expectations. I know both of us had them 9 or 10 wins, maybe with the weak schedule they have. Or did they lose to a team that got creamed by Daniel Jones 33-8? It's time to reevaluate.
Being Peyton
I don't
Manning 2.0.
I don't know if I see that happening, but I think that Will Campbell had an all right debut today. He had a couple of bad penalties. I didn't really see him give up a whole lot of pressures, though. He didn't have Max Crosby. That was Morgan Moses, who actually did a decent job on Crosby today. Thing with the Patriots was they couldn't really run the football. Trevion Henderson or Ramondre Stevenson didn't really get anything done on the ground. And Geno Smith, I want to give credit to Geno Smith. He looked phenomenal, and I've been telling people that he's going to look good for the Raiders. They're going to be they're the worst roster in the AFC West, and they're not even a bad roster. So they'll be a 8-9 win last place team, in my opinion. But Geno Smith looked awesome. If Brock Bowers' injury isn't too bad, he looked great with Geno. They had instant chemistry. Ashton Genty didn't have his best game, but I think that they will figure out a way to get him more open lanes running the football. And I think that, the Raiders are a solid average team. Patriots not quite there yet. Patriots still trying to get to that league average level and build over time with May and company. All in all, for the Patriots, I'd give this game a D grade. There were a couple good things, not really great overall. And for the Raiders, I'd give them a nice little C plus B minus type of grade for today.
Dan, how about you? What did you see from the Raiders' point of view here?
Yeah, well, the defense. Let's start with the defense first. We couldn't get after the quarterback first quarter. First half. We struggled. We didn't get our first sack till the second half of the game. And I want to bring up, you brought up Will Campbell. He did give up a sack, and I thought it was funny because I wrote in my notes because what people online were talking all week, the battle of arm length. They finally put Tyree Wilson, who's got a huge wingspan, on Will Campbell, and then the first time they did it, he bull rushed him and he got a sack in the third quarter. Where's the time at? Third quarter, 4:27 left. So I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, wow, why didn't we do this sooner? So I thought that the Raiders had a great second half adjustments because that first half we didn't look good at all. We missed the field goal late to tie it. Carlson, it was a tough day to kick though, but he missed the long. I believe it was a 58-yard field goal left. And then the second half, Pete Carroll and his staff, he adjusted well, and they came out looking sharp in the second half. May, like you said, May was sailing the ball a lot today. I think he just got to tweak his mechanics. He's a young prospect. He's going to be all right. But Geno Smith, man, Geno Smith balled out. I believe, after Sunday night, I don't know where he is passing rating, but leading into Sunday, he was the leading passer for yards. So he looked great. He was thrown all over. Trey Tucker looked good. Dante Thornton made some plays.
Trey Tucker did look really good.
Yeah. He's quietly had a good camp. He's the guy everyone forgets about because Dante Thornton and Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. Excuse me. But Brock Bowers, he dealt with a knee. He had a stinger, and then per Tom Pelissero, he's going to be all right. He wanted to return, but the Raiders didn't want to push him in the second half.
That's good.
Whatever
That's
that was,
good.
the fourth
Very
quarter.
good news.
Yeah, he's going to be
John,
okay.
please shut up, bro. I've given like 5 data points already. You're annoying as hell. Please shut up.
All right. Kind of based on what I'm seeing from both sides, I was very interested. I thought the Patriots did a great job of stopping the run against the Raiders, considering the fact that, this Patriots defense was very up and down against the pass and the run last year. So I was impressed that they were able to kind of shore that up.
That's what they paid all those guys for, to be honest.
Yeah,
like Milton, and they got Barmore back now too. So.
That is very encouraging for them long term. As far as kind of the Raiders go on that side of things, a little bit concerned about their run blocking in terms of that, which is something they're going to need to close these games out. As good as Ashton Genty could be in the NFL, if they don't have a good run blocking offensive line, I think he could struggle and be a little bit inefficient. And it'll probably take away from their pass. I'm interested to see if teams play the Raiders different long term, kind of knowing that, hey, maybe they won't be a run first team with Ashton Genty. Maybe they're going to be a pass first team with Geno Smith and air the ball out. So I'm interested to see what type of adjustments we get for the Raiders. I absolutely love what I saw from the pass catchers from the Raiders. I mean, having a mix of Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Deontay Thornton, Trey Tucker. They're all different type of receivers that make it really hard on defenses to match up with all those players. So that's very exciting as a Raiders fan. But the Patriots, like, my biggest thing is, and I didn't expect the Patriots to walk away with a win here. I don't think I wound up picking them.
Me neither. I picked the Raiders.
Yeah, the biggest thing is they didn't run the ball enough. Like Drake May, I'm looking at it right now, 46 attempts in this one. And when I was watching, I'm like, dude, just Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, just feed him a little bit more. I mean, Travion Henderson, 5 carries for 27 yards. No more carries after that. Ramondre finished with a worst line of 7 for 15, but get the guys involved more. Make it a little bit easier for Drake May to open it up. And that's what Josh McDaniels did forever for Tom Brady and his other quarterbacks. It was run, play action off of that, and make it easy for them to get plays down the field and scheme up some plays that were nice. I thought Drake May was meh in this game at best. I think that, where he is in his development right now is he's more of a young Josh Allen in a way where he flashes the tools of a great quarterback, but it's not there consistently right now. And he really needs to find ways to be within the system more. And McDaniels has to do a better job of honing him in and keeping him in there, right? The adjustments at the line of scrimmage, that type of stuff is stuff that May's still going to have to learn over time. But I think that McDaniels can do a better job of making this game plan easier for him to have a more efficient stat day and not necessarily have to be a gunslinger, crazy plays, taking sacks that he doesn't have to take. Like, those parts of the game can be coached out. The talent's there, but I don't know what we're going to get for the rest of the year from Drake.
Hey, listen, I know that Dan shares my pain here. I know he's seen it firsthand, and I saw it for a long time in the Brady era with McDaniels. The first down screens are the most annoying thing when they get no yardage and he keeps calling it over and over and over. I know Dan has seen it with the Raiders. I've seen it. I like Josh McDaniels. He's an above average offensive coordinator at worst, but that's his Achilles heel, and it pisses me off every time.
Yeah, the Raiders could never run it either. Every time they ran a screen, it went nowhere.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's the Josh McDaniels special.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, we are going to let you go for a little bit. We're going to bring back in David and Dale here. Guys, what's going on? Lions Packers. This might have been the statement game of the week. Obviously, Ravens and Bills, great game. Wasn't really a statement game. We knew both teams are going to be great. The Green Bay Packers won one game in the NFC North last season and absolutely bullied the Lions the entire game. I'm going to start with you, David. I know you have some takes here and there. Are the Lions absolutely cooked this year from what you saw in this game?
I had the Packers missing the playoffs and the Lions still winning the division. And
after that game,
I'm not gonna. No, before that game.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm a little bit second guessing myself, but that I didn't think the loss of those coordinators would affect the Lions as much as people anticipated due to the plethora of talent on that Lions team. You have numerous Pro Bowlers. I really thought they would come out and put up more of a fight against Green Bay. Like, as you mentioned, Green Bay was 1-5 against division opponents, and the Lions looked no better than the Patriots today.
Hey, fellas, can I drop a bomb on you guys of a stat here? Jared Goff has now played 20 career games with an offensive coordinator or a play caller not named Sean McVay or Ben Johnson. His record in those games is 0 wins, 19 losses, and 1 tie.
Dog.
And just like that, the Bears are winning the division.
I want to expand. I kind of want to give the opposite angle of what you were giving here, David. I know you said you're second guessing it a little bit, but Green Bay, they're getting obviously the hype of being an NFC contender to make the Super Bowl ever since they got Micah Parsons. Honestly, Micah played great, and honestly, Micah won the matchup against Penei Sewell today. I know he just had the 1 sack. It was a really impressive sack, but he was getting pressure all day long, even without Micah, though. Look at the other guys they have. Jordan Love looked really clean out there today. Josh Jacobs toted the rock well. The defense obviously played really, really well and shut down a Lions offense that, even if they don't have Ben Johnson, has a bunch of playmakers. Lambeau Field was rocking, and I think the Packers are legit in the NFC. They're my number 2 NFC team behind the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and the addition of Micah Parsons just makes them straight up scary to me.
Were they your number 2 before the Parsons trade?
No. My number 2 before the Parsons trade was the Rams, who underwhelms me on offense today. They were against a really good defense, but it was the Rams for me. I had the Packers in the 4 slot in the NFC in my rankings. I had Detroit ahead of them. Parsons trade pushes them ahead for me.
Yeah, and I think the interesting part about this matchup, before I kind of asked Dale about his analysis, is it felt like everything was incredibly hard for the Lions. And it wasn't like a short passing game that was methodical, kind of like what we see from the Chiefs and the Bills when their offenses are working well. As you see like short, quick passes where the ball is out of Josh Allen and Mahomes' hands quick and they're moving down the field. The Lions, it just felt like short passes that it was like, oh, we don't know what to do with the ball. Or Jared Goff can't really scramble. Let's just get the ball out. Right. That's what it kind of felt like when watching the Lions the entire time today. They had some down the field passes that they actually moved the ball and had success with that, but those were few and far between. And Jared Goff, I'm looking at now, I think he completed 31 of his 39 attempts. And if you looked at that stat line, you'd be like, man, this offense put up a good day. That was 13 points worth. Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 catches for 30 yards. But my biggest thing with this Lions team, the interior offensive line changes were the biggest thing that everybody ignored heading into this year. Frank Ragnow retired. You had Kevin Zeitler leave in free agency as well. Like this interior offensive line is completely shifted, and they looked brutal, absolutely brutal in this game, and it changed the entire running game, which the Lions rely on to be so successful. That's extremely concerning. Their defense, they were up and down throughout this game. They found some momentum in the middle parts of the game, but it wasn't enough with how the offense was playing. They started off pretty shaky. We'll see what we get out of them, but I mean, I just think it was very interesting to see the Packers were juiced up for this one, man. They knew they had this one to opening day. The Micah Parsons hype, you could kind of just like feel the atmosphere from the TV in the stadium when Micah Parsons comes out of the tunnel. Basically, his presence as a part of that defense, it just makes that unit even scarier. And they were really good against very impressive defensive performance. I think the offense can be better, but I mean, a really good start for the Packers. The Lions, I'm not going to say it's time to panic, but it's definitely time to be concerned because unlike some other teams that struggled this week, I think with the Lions, the concerns are longer term and they're not necessarily quick fixes like some of the other teams where I feel confident that they can do that. So it's interesting there. Dale, what are your thoughts on the action we got here in this massive game?
So I'll say I was shocked to see how lopsided it felt like the game was. Like you can look at the score obviously and say it was a lopsided game, but just the level of play. I felt like it would be maybe a bit of a transition going from Ben Johnson to a new offensive coordinator, even if that guy had been working with him or whatever. But to see, and I feel like as the season goes along, they'll get better. They'll get better and better. They'll get more consistent and more used to the style that they're playing and stuff like that. But just to see how outmatched they look by the Packers today. It's week one. I was saying that earlier about the other game, but it just felt like a power shift in that division to where the Packers, they've been this team that, hey, we're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to have a wild card spot. We're going to have a chance to go to the division, but, most likely we'll bow. Now it feels like, as Brady put, they're a legitimate contender. They can go toe to toe with the Eagles, and you can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna put all my money on the Eagles, and I'm not worried about it." My thing is with Green Bay, because I was sitting there listening to you guys, and I was just gonna come on and say, "Man, this and that about the Packers." Jordan Love, he was very efficient today. He didn't have to do too much because the pressure that they were getting on the lines, because they weren't scoring, they weren't making it a track meet and making it a fireworks show like they normally do with a lot of teams. My thing is when he does meet, it doesn't even have to be the Eagles. When he does meet a team that pushes them, that needs them, everyone to be at their best. What does he look like then? And can he consistently do it enough to get them past an Eagles or Rams, even the Commanders? The Commanders didn't look pretty good today as well. So I want to see, can he consistently do it? Because I will say in the same vein as you guys were talking about earlier with Drake May kind of being like a young Josh Allen, he has all the tools. He will show the flashes, but then he'll make that one play It's not necessarily having a one game where he just from start to finish doesn't look like himself, but he'll make that one play and it's a turnover. It's something that costs them, and it just can he work that out of his game, kind of like the Tony Romo effect or something. He looks like a top
Tony
2
Romo.
quarterback sometimes, and then next thing you know, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and the game losing pick. So I'm very interested to see that. I love their run game. I feel like them pounding the rock all season should be their foundation, and they shouldn't get away from that to prove that Jordan Love can consistently do those things. But I don't want him to get comfortable seeing these things go this way and say, "Oh man, we're good." It's gonna be a game where they're gonna need you, and I need you to not make that play. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like they're top 2 in the conference right now for sure. This was Michael's first game. He was getting consistent pressure after pretty much an off season of doing nothing, not being in camp, not practicing those things, and then obviously being on a new team just days before the season even started. So I feel like if today was any indication, the more he ramps up and gets comfortable in this defense with his teammates and playing off of them and things like that, he has Rashawn Gary on the other side. I was very impressed today. I thought that it would be a much tougher game, but if this was any indication, they're going to be a problem.
Dale, I just want to add on to, I know the broadcast kept mentioning it, but it's so rare to see such a superstar caliber player, especially on the defensive side and as an edge rusher, get traded like this, get moved, and especially a
Yes.
week before the season. And it just feels like maybe I'm searching for parallels, but could be like when Reggie White got traded to Green Bay 30 years ago. Like, took them over the top. They won a Super Bowl with Reggie White. I know Jordan Love isn't quite Brett Favre, but Jordan Love is good enough, in my
He's good
opinion, with
enough.
his surroundings. He's been, since he became a full-time starter in 2023, he's top 10 in the league in EPA per play. He's a very efficient quarterback. Like you said, he has the tools. He can throw the deep ball. He can run. And they saw the Eagles twice last year, and both games came down to the fourth quarter. In Brazil, really high-scoring game last year. Of course, Jordan Love got hurt towards the end of that game, but him and Jaden Reed were balling. The offense is putting up points. And then in the playoffs, a lower scoring game where Love couldn't really get a lot going against the Eagles defense, but the Packers defense was also shutting down Jalen Hurts. So I think that even before Micah Parsons, the Packers are a team capable of playing tight with the Eagles, and Micah Parsons just takes them that much closer.
Yeah,
I
100%.
agree. And I feel like also people underestimate the effect that a superstar has that's outside of the box score. Even if Micah got no sacks today, he's out there number 1, so you have to game plan for him.
Yep.
If you do not game plan for him, it's a 99.9% chance that he will wreck your game and you will lose.
Even Panay Sewell isn't enough. You got to chip him. You got to do all kinds of stuff to keep a player like that off.
And so
100%.
with an acquisition like that, you have to game plan for him, which opens up things for his other teammates theoretically. But when you have someone as good as a Rashawn Gary on the other side, it's like a puzzle piece, and that just makes as you go down the chain, each piece just becomes that better because that top piece, I cannot overlook him. I cannot just say, well, no, we're gonna go, like you said, we're not doubling anybody, we're not chipping them, we're not doing this, we're gonna run our offense. It's a mistake waiting to happen. And also, but on the reverse side of the ball, I know that a big thing this year that people were talking about was them acquiring Matthew Golden in the first round, them not taking skill position players in the first round normally for years, decades. I'm interested to see as the season goes along who truly becomes that number 1, because I was just talking about Jordan Love, his consistency, him not making that play that loses them the game. I also want to see it matters that who can I depend on in that moment as well, because that can cause me to make the wrong decision, because I might want to go to this guy, but it might be a one-on-one jump ball and that's not his game.
Right.
I might want to bomb it, but this guy doesn't have the speed. But they're over there doubling my speed guy, or they got a safety over the top. They doing these things. So I'm interested to see, does Matthew Golden become that guy by the season's end? Who becomes that guy that elevates his confidence? Because once again, he has everything he needs to do it. It's just, if I throw you the ball, are you gonna more often than not make the play?
Right.
So who becomes that guy he can depend on to elevate himself into that for sure top 10, top 5 conversation and threaten the big 4 for, premier status.
100%. Let's talk about some of these top teams. Dale and David, we're gonna let you guys go here for a second. Dan, bringing you back in here. We're gonna talk 3 teams that could be at the top of the NFC to compete the Packers for a spot. The Rams took down the Texans with a 14-9 game. 49ers won 17-13 against the Seahawks. And then the Commanders won 21-6 against the Giants. Obviously not high scoring games. We all know these offenses can do that. Brady, out of these 3 games, what were your big takeaways from each of them?
Yeah, so I'll go one by one here. The Rams, I know that the scoreboard doesn't show it, but I felt like their offense was not bad today. I feel like there were times that Stafford was getting in a flow state, especially with Puka Nacua. And I think that as the season goes along, Devontae Adams gets a little bit more acclimated to that McVay scheme. This offense is only going to become more dangerous. But it was about the Rams defense today. And I know that Texans had a couple rookie receivers out there and no Tank Dell, but CJ Stroud is still CJ Stroud. Nico Collins is still Nico Collins, and that Rams defense came to play, including the game sealing play with Braden Fisk recovering the fumble there against the Texans. Good win at home. Would have been a letdown to lose that game in your season opener at home against the Texans team that's a little bit shorthanded. But at the end of the day, like I said, the Texans, really good defense. I'm not mad at the Rams for that game. I don't think they didn't play anywhere near their ceiling, but they did enough to get it done, and that's what good teams do in the games where they don't have their A-plus stuff. 49ers, Brock Purdy did not have a good go of it after George Kittle got hurt until the end of the game, where I think the Niners found something with Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall started to get a lot of targets, started to have a lot of big plays. He had the big catch down the sideline on the go ball. He had a catch to make it first down in the red zone, in the low red there. And I thought he started to look really good. McCaffrey, you can tell the injury isn't just some headline. It's actually something that he's still dealing with. He didn't look nearly as explosive to me today when he got his touches. But this is a team that, again, like I said, George Kittle left the game. They don't have Brandon Ayuk back yet. I think they will be fine. I think the Seahawks are a sneakily really good defense, and I thought they played like it today. But Niners, same sort of thing. Good teams, veteran teams that have experience. They find a way to make the play at the end of the game, and that's what Nick Bosa did. Nick Bosa, another elite edge. Niners and Rams, both underwhelming, but both got it done. Both showed their experience kind of pulled through against these teams, these younger teams that they were against. And then the Commanders, I told you the other night, I'm not super high on this team. I thought Jaden Daniels still looked pretty Jaden Daniels-ish, but the rest of the Commanders, like I've suspected throughout the season, did not do much to impress me, and I'm not moved by the Giants being held to 6 points because it's Russell Wilson and the Giants offense. What I will say, which coach is more likely to get fired midseason after what we saw today with Brian Daboll and Malik Neighbors going at it after each other on the sideline? Is it going to be Daboll or Mike McDaniel? Because right now it feels like those are the two that are most on the hot seat.
I think they're both gone for sure. I mean, we'll talk about the Dolphins and Colts real quick since you brought it up, and then we'll go back to the NFC top guys. But Mike McDaniel's gone, and it might even be midseason.
Yeah.
This team is going to fire.
It might be by like week 8.
Yeah, listen. I mean, yeah, Tyreek's going to get traded.
Yeah,
The Dolphins are going to be bad. His defense is abysmal. Tua looked honestly the worst I've seen Tua look in years today.
So vindicating as a Tua hater, as a Dolphin doubter. So vindicating today.
But the thing is like the perfect way to summarize this Miami Dolphins offense is 4th down. They're down 30 points. They call a 4th and 12 screenplay to Devon Achane, and that's their touchdown. And that ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage. And they like, oh yeah, that's a great play to throw on 4th down. No, it's not. That's so stupid. Why would you ever do that? And I just think this Mike McDaniel's scheme has gone very, very dull, very, very quickly. It had one good year and defenses caught up to it, figured out how to defend it, and they've gone away from the run. Devon Achane was actually really efficient today. They gave up on him too quickly, and I just don't like where this Dolphins team is.
Hey, look,
if I had to pick one to get fired first, I'm going with McDaniel.
Here's my one thing I'll say about Mike McDaniel, though, is I don't necessarily think he's any sort of like McVay, Shanahan, Reed type of schemer. I think that his scheme works, though. He came from that Shanahan, that Falcons coaching tree, but I think that Tua handicaps that scheme so much. You can't really get a whole lot downfield. Tua is not a good processor. He doesn't have a good deep ball. You kind of have to keep everything 12 yards and in for Tua to have success. And I don't think that Mike McDaniel is a good leader of a coach. I think he has lost his locker room. But I still think that Mike McDaniel, if he gets picked up somewhere as like an offensive coordinator, could still end up having success and making Tua look like even more of a bum. But we'll see.
Yeah, Dan, what do you think? Which coach should get let
They
go
get fired.
first between Dable and McDaniel?
Yeah, definitely McDaniel. I thought about that before the season as well. I think it just run its course, and I agree. I wasn't the biggest Tua fan coming out. Like the whole conversation, Tua or Herbert. It's Herbert by
Oh
a
my
mile.
gosh.
It's
There are
it's it's
Dolphins
always
fans still
been.
today arguing this, by the way. Dan.
It's bad. It's bad. Herbert's clearly better, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, definitely McDaniel. But it's just I think people figured out his offense. I mean, he's been there for 3 years, and then I mean, his offense was so like what's the word? Revolutionary, or I don't know if that's the right word, but he
Different.
he
I think
took
different's a
he
good word.
yeah he took the league by storm, and just what happened is people started stealing his plays, and eventually everyone's running the same plays as the Dolphins. Every, the NFL figured out how to defend it. That's what I think happened. I mean, it just last year it seemed like people are just running the spots. They know where Tua throws. The linebackers aren't even looking; they just run to an area. The corners know his tendencies. So I just think his offense running course, and Mike McDaniel will be the first coach to get fired this year.
It's crazy. Real quick, where do you guys think Tyreek Hill might end up?
Chargers.
I don't think they
Yeah.
need him.
Please
think
don't
he
tell
was
me.
the
Please
Chiefs.
don't tell me what I think you're going to tell me, though,
I
Ryan.
don't think he's going to go to the Chiefs. They can't afford him. They
No?
have $2 million in cap space.
Oh,
They
okay.
can't make the
I
best
didn't look at
offer
that.
either.
I mean, they could. I think Tyreek Hill's probably worth a third rounder right now with his contract, 2 years left, massive contract, probably third rounder. Is what you get for him. I think that's about right.
Maybe a little more, but I don't know. Mainly it's the contract, though, like you said. But I think personally, sorry, Dan, I did not mean to cut you off. I think if it's not the Chargers, Commanders,
Yeah, that's what I was
Broncos.
going to say.
Commanders and Broncos are the other two teams that I would look at there.
Yeah. Dan, who would you think that makes sense
No,
for
I
him?
thought I thought the Chiefs, but I didn't look at the cap space. I didn't know how bad they are.
I mean, you could
I mean, they
restructure
just
Mahomes' contract whenever you want.
You
yeah. I
also
mean,
they got to pay McDuffie too. That's the thing you have to remember. That's coming up.
yeah, but
57's rated
they're
McDuffie
hurting
to
that
be
receiver right now. Yeah,
They
they're
are.
hurting.
They are literally.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure Mahomes would be like, yeah, I'll restructure if we get that guy back. And Tyreek wants to be back. He misses him, man. He misses that guy.
Probably.
And then I don't know. I think it'd be a good fit for him too. With the locker room, he knows Andy Reid. I don't know. Ryan could talk about if like they had a bad breakup.
Listen,
I don't remember, but
Tyreek Hill leaving Kansas City, he's definitely left a little bit sour taste, I think, in a little bit of
Okay.
people's mouths with, some of the stuff he said at Miami, kind of how he's acted. Not necessarily kind of what you want sometimes, I guess, to bring into a locker room, especially midseason. I think it would work in Kansas City because he's had success there. But I think part of it too is like, as much of a good fit as Tyreek Hill would be for the Chiefs, considering the injury situation, the realistic possibility of the Chiefs going and doing that seems very small. If anything, the Chiefs are going to bring in like McCole Hardman off the Packers practice squad to fill the void. Like
okay.
that's the reality of the situation. It feels like Xavier Worthy obviously dislocated shoulder, but we'll see what winds up happening. It's basically going to be Patrick Mahomes, find a way with what you have for 5 weeks, and then we're going to get Rashee Rice back, and then you got to figure it out from there. I don't think the Chiefs are in a spot to where they want to go overspend a draft pick for a veteran wide receiver like Tyreek Hill on a multi-year big contract for that type of price. So I think it's more of a, Patrick Mahomes, you're a top quarterback in the league. You might have bad weapons for a few weeks. You're going to have to figure it out, and the defense is going to play much better, and they'll try to find a way that way. So I think it's interesting in that regard.
Here, how about these two teams, Ryan? Real quick, I'm looking at cap space. There'll be a bidding war between the 49ers and Seahawks.
49ers would be interesting, but I think they're going to get healthier as the season goes on. The Seahawks, I mean, that's one we can kind of talk about the NFC teams again, but like outside of JSN, there's no Seahawks receivers that did anything. Cooper Kupp was a wash. Sam Darnold was not great in this one at all. They could use another receiver to make Sam Darnold look better. I mean, they invested so much money in him. You might as well go add more talent around him to try to give him a chance to prove that he can be a guy based on the contract they gave him. Brady, do you disagree with that?
I think that my thing is if you're a team that's going after Tyreek Hill, who's 32 years old, maybe I'm kind of
Yeah,
ballparking.
yeah, I
think
think
it's
32.
32 years old. I think it's going to be a team that feels like Tyreek Hill makes them a contender to win their conference or come close. And I don't think the Seahawks are quite there yet in year 2 with Mike McDonald. First year with the new quarterback. I think the Seahawks are building, but I don't know if they're a team that's going to take that leap of faith yet.
Yeah, it feels interesting. I think Commanders are a team we mentioned for it, but like how they look today, I thought they looked okay. They didn't look flashy by any means. I think Bill had a pretty good debut for all the fantasy
Bill.
football people out there. He looked pretty good in a limited role on early downs. I think Jaden Daniels looked above average today.
Oh, Bills too. Good call, Mesa.
Yeah, the Bills would be crazy seeing Tyreek Hill in a Bills jersey. I don't know if that's actually legal. But as far as the Commanders, their defense played well. Russell Wilson looked uncomfortable the entire day. It's Russell Wilson, it's the Giants, but we also saw Spencer Rattler had a decent day against the Cardinals defense as well. So I thought it was a decent day for the Commanders overall. And then the Rams. I mean, Rams pass rush absolutely ate alive CJ Stroud. They did their job today.
Yeah.
They played really well all around. I absolutely think the connection between Stafford, Puka, Devontae Adams, like that trio right there is when you get into the postseason and you need a drive to go win a game. That trio will get you far. And I think Stafford looked really good. And I think a good sign was they ran a QB sneak on the goal line despite the bad back rumors. That means he's got to be feeling pretty okay.
Hey, is that him or a clone? Who is that?
Yeah. If he's calling a QB sneak
quarterback,
on the goal line, I think he feels kind of okay to be able to do that for sure. Dan, what were your thoughts from these top 3 teams in the NFC?
Yeah, so I think I ranked them while Brady was talking. If I had to rank them, I went Rams, 49ers, then Washington. Because I'm not very high in Washington either. Just from last year. I mean, how many one-score games they won? I can't think of off the top of my head, but they won so many one-score games last year.
A lot. And Dan, I said, yeah. Oh my bad. I'll let you keep going. I'm sorry, I've talked enough.
No, I just that's what I think. I think the Rams got a really solid defense, and then I mean, my only thing about the Rams that I was down on was Stafford's health. I mean, he hasn't practiced like all training camp, and I was like, that's why I took the Texans this week. So I was like, man, he's gonna be rusty. How healthy is he? But he looked okay. I mean, I was surprised, and then obviously Houston can't block up front, and they're getting eaten alive. But at the end of the day, they had a chance to win it, and that running back fumbled at the end. They were driving, and he fumbled. So it's the NFL, man. The game happens, quickly. A ball can bounce a certain way, and you lose the game.
Yeah, most definitely. And I was going to say 2 things. One, it's good to see that the narrative was dispelled that Stafford died weeks ago, that people were saying on Twitter that hashtag Stafford died weeks ago is no longer a thing. We saw him out there unless it was a clone. And and then you were mentioning the Commanders and the one-score games. I pointed this out to Ryan the other day. They were 7-5 after week 13, and then they went on a run of facing, I think it was Kenny Pickett, Spencer Rattler, Cooper Rush, and like Daniel Jones. Like they were not facing legitimate opposition. And I think this year, I made this point to him the other night. This year, with a second place schedule, I mean, you got to go to Arrowhead. You still got to play Philly twice. The Dallas offense isn't going to be easy to guard with the secondary that you have. I am with you. I have the Commanders as like a 9-win team right on the bubble of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how they play out. And obviously, this is probably a good warm-up game for them, it feels like, for what they have ahead in terms of a schedule. So that's going to be a good one there. Dan, we're going to welcome you back at the end as we talk Bengals-Browns to close out the show. David and Dale, we'll bring you guys back in here for this game. The Panthers and the Jaguars. Bryce Young absolutely did not look like Bryce Young in the second half in this one against a pretty bad Jaguars defense. Trevor Lawrence was up and down, but man, Travis Etienne stole the show in this one. Honestly, David, what did you see in this matchup?
I was mainly looking at what running back would take the helm in Liam Cohen's offense. I expected Travis Etienne to be the number one, and he reiterated that with his performance. Over 100 yards on the ground, very efficient. Tank Bigsby, I had a few carries, nothing crazy. Tuen also didn't get that many reps, but Etienne looked like Bucky Irving in Bucks offense.
I mean, yeah, 16 carries, 143 yards here, 71-yard rush. Dale, what did you see in this matchup?
Um, I was I was interested to see which running back on each team would kind of set up their team for success, set up their team to be in a position to win the game. Bryce Young, this game, because I felt like this would be the perfect game starting out the season for him, to where I would say nobody thinks the Jaguars are the worst team in the NFL, but at the same time, they're not the best. At best, they're probably like mid to average, middle of the pack, if not lower. So I feel like this was the perfect game starting out for Bryce Young to kind of continue where he left off last season, and we didn't see that. So I was very disappointed in that. I'm interested to see, is this a blip on the radar, and can he just get back to it next week? I do like Ted McMillan. I thought Ted McMillan looked pretty decent today. But other than that, I was very interested to see, the same as David, Travis Etienne taking the helm. Now I wonder, will this be a weekly thing, or was it just a game plan for today and then next week they go back to committee, or is Bigsby taking most of the reps, or if Travis doesn't have a good game, does that change anything instantly? But I thought Travis Etienne looked really, really good today. I'm interested also to see Travis Hunter. I'm sorry, his name was slipping my mind for a minute. But he took majority of his snaps on the offense, of course. He had a few on defense, so I'm interested to see. It's weird because if you're gonna have him majority on the offense, it's almost like, what is even the point of having him on defense at cornerback? If he's just gonna go in for a snap here and a snap there. I mean, yeah, if it's a big play or something like that, but it's like, it's weird to me. So I just don't see why you just don't make him a full-time receiver, which is where he can most impact the game, and get the ball in his hands and things like that. But I mean, the Jags, they didn't impress, but like I said, Travis Etienne looked pretty good, and I'm ready to see if he can continue that.
100%. Brady, I'll take it off to you here. Bryce Young, is it
Man,
time?
it's not time yet, but something stuck out to me that you said. You said Bryce Young did not look like Bryce Young. Here's the thing, he kind of did. This has kind of been who he is through his career. He had the 5 week stretch last year where it looked like him and Dave Canales kind of started to rise just a little bit, especially that game against Kansas City in Carolina. But you would think bringing in that number one wide receiver in Tedero McMillan. I know they got rid of Adam Thielen, but bringing in Tedero McMillan, you'd think would help Bryce Young. And I'll admit, I did not get to catch a lot of this game. So obviously, if the offensive line was the reason, if the play calling was bad, what the route combinations looked like when I go rewatch this on all 22. But Bryce Young, I mean, he's just working against a lot of odds. He's a really short quarterback. He's a really light quarterback. He's not an electric runner. He can run. He doesn't have a huge arm. There's a lot of odds against Bryce Young's favor, and I really like Bryce Young. He seems like a great human being as well. But this could just be who he is. I mean, we're in year 3. We had kind of a little flash last year, but a good 85% of his career as a starter to this point has been really subpar, and that could just be what he ends up being.
I listen. I I don't know how the best way to put this is about Bryce Young, besides the fact that they went out and got their first round wide receiver in Ted McMillan, right? I know it's one player and it doesn't change everything for him, and they still don't necessarily have a super talented offense around him. But he completed 50% of his passes and he threw 2 interceptions against the Jaguars defense that was in the bottom 5 of the NFL in terms of pass defense last year. Come on.
He had 70 something yards going into the fourth.
You got to be he has to be better than this, and they're going to give him more chances. Obviously, this year is the year, and he's going to play the entire year. But I don't like, and I mean the Panthers were a team I think both of us had third in the division. I still think they take third in the division. They have a lot of work to do, especially going into next week.
Yeah.
To figure out some of the stuff. Chuba Hubbard only averaged 3.5 yards a carry. It was a bad showing on offense for the Panthers. And the Jaguars side of things, thought it was okay, and it was under Liam Cohen. The passing game was nowhere near where it needed to be against the Panthers defense that wasn't very good last year. Obviously, getting Horn healthy for them definitely helps. Their pass defense with him healthy is completely different. But Brian Thomas Jr. had 7 targets and only 1 catch. The chemistry between Thomas and Trevor Lawrence just seemed off today. that's something definitely to monitor. Travis Hunter got a lot of targets, but not really panned out in the box score. I know he had some where he was open and Trevor Lawrence just couldn't hit him, but he looks like he's going to be like, it feels like the weapons are in place for Trevor Lawrence to be successful. Liam Cohen has success in terms of play calling. I mean, you saw it, what they were able to do with the run game. Can Trevor Lawrence take that step and elevate his game? He didn't do it against a good matchup today. I'm interested to see if he could do it over the course of the season. We'll leave David and Dale in here for this matchup as well. Steelers and Jets, and this one was actually a great game. This was one of my favorite games of the slate. We had fights going on. We had drama from players switching over these teams, and we had a high-scoring affair. David, I'll start with you. What was your biggest takeaway from this matchup?
My biggest takeaway is, are the Steelers back? Honestly, could they theoretically? I'm not even kidding. If Aaron Rodgers does 80% of what he did today throughout the season, is there a chance that the Steelers can win 11 games and maybe squeeze by in the division?
No.
No.
I'm just saying the Jets have a great.
I'm going to say, Ryan, I'm going to say this. I'm being a little harsh on Rodgers earlier, but aside from the offense, my bigger takeaway from this game isn't Rodgers and the offense against a pretty bad Jets team. It's the fact that the Steelers' defense, that's supposed to be good, gave up 30-something points to Justin freaking Fields.
Justin Fields isn't a bad quarterback.
Yes, he is a horrible quarterback. He's
no, he is not.
Whoa.
Last year on the very Steelers team, he had 15 touchdowns to 1 interception. What are we talking about?
You're not a good quarterback getting benched for Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I think Mike Tomlin's just not that good of a coach. But anyway.
But at the same time, it's like with that, so it's like with Justin Fields being on the Steelers, I feel like not enough people were giving him props enough for what he was doing, but at the same time, it's not like he was moving heaven and earth, and he was
right. Their defense was balling out. Like
let me rephrase what I was saying. Last year, I believe the Steelers were 10-7. I think I'm right on that.
10-7 or 11-6, one of the two.
I think
I think they're 10-7. Can we all agree that the additions of put the quarterback aside, the additions of DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, Darius Slay, and do we think that is enough for them to get 1 or 2 more wins this year?
See, the thing isn't about the wins for me. It's more about the playoffs for the Steelers. They make the playoffs. They win games during the regular season. They don't beat good teams in the regular season, and they sure as hell can't win a playoff game.
I'm sticking to my guns on the Steelers. I still got them 6 or 7 win team. The Jets are really bad. This game isn't moving me yet.
You think the Steelers are winning 6 games?
But it's just
7.
I personally was like, I'm not the highest person on the Steelers, but I think that if they play like this, I think the Jets have a great D-line. But if they play like this, I think there's a real chance they could get 1 or 2 more wins. And what's not to say the Ravens don't get 1 extra loss this year?
Look, I've seen last year we saw Aaron Rodgers. I know the Jets lost the season opener last year. Last year we saw Aaron Rodgers come out, I think had 3 touchdowns against the 49ers. Same dialogue was happening. Are the Jets gonna do it this year? They've got talent. They've got Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers looked really good. And then it all went to crap really, really fast. I don't think it's going to be as bad in Pittsburgh. I think that Rodgers has better surroundings than he did in New York. I think it's obviously a better organization, better coach. But I just don't see them making real noise in the NFL. That's just me, though. But that's a take that I have fairly strong conviction on.
This is what I'll say is like a happy medium, too, though, of you guys is the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers was phenomenal today compared to what we saw for the Jets. Like, he played with
night and day from last year, for sure.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers actually could move this year, right? Like, the last year, I didn't feel confident in the way he was moving at all. Like, it actually looked like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is moving well. It looked good. I'm looking at it right now, and from watching it as well, my biggest concern going into the game, and it still is my biggest concern coming out of the game, it's not the quarterback position for the Steelers on offense. It's the running back position.
Yeah, they can't run the ball.
Offense, it is their bread and butter. Jalen Warren, 3.3 yards per carry. Kenneth Gainwell, 2.7 yards per carry. Caleb Johnson, 1 carry, -2 yards, and a fumble. That's brutal for a backfield that needs to be really good for an offense to continuously be successful. Aaron Rodgers basically has to play like he did every single week if the Steelers are going to be in these games. I don't think the Steelers defense is going to be this bad during the season. I think this is a bad showing for them. I think they'll be probably like 8 through 12 in terms of defense ranks in the NFL this year. Like, I think that's fair. They're an older unit, but I think that if the Steelers defense doesn't play lights out and Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a lights out game, how are they supposed to win games with this running back room if that's the backbone of this offense? It's just not going to happen. This offense isn't built to win throwing the ball as much as they needed to in this game or rely on a running game averaging 3 yards a carry. That's just no recipe for success with Arthur Smith. What I'll say on the Jets side of things, they were fun to watch today on offense. They actually were. Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields, that duo is fun to watch. I mean, Garrett Wilson and Jalen Ramsey going at it, fun to watch. Breece Hall, my goodness, absolute monster. Proved me wrong today. I told everybody, avoid Breece Hall like the plague. They're going to use a committee. Did not happen. Breece Hall looked incredibly good, and the committee was overblown because Braylon Allen finished with 6 carries for 9 yards in this game. Breece Hall still has the talent. And I think he's going to be really good with defenses having to key in on Justin Fields as a runner. I don't think the Jets offense is going to be consistently good, but if they're going to have games like this where it's just fun to watch. And I think with the Jets, it's more of a fun to watch type of team versus a competing type of team. Dale, do you disagree with either of those takes?
Yeah, and it makes me concerned for the Steelers because if this was a 34-32 win the same way against a team like, I'm not
like
gonna
the
go to
Ravens or somebody.
like the Ravens, like someone that they're gamers, they could easily blow you out of the water. But you played the exact same way and you came away with a win, you make those same plays, I'll be impressed. The thing is that just like to David was asking the question earlier, do all those players add up to another win or two? I would say it's too premature to say, even though that's what we're here for, to answer the questions. And I simply say that because the defense last year was not great, was not up to the usual standard. The offense was down here, as been the case in the last few years. So you add Aaron Rodgers, they look way better than they did last year today to me, yeah, for sure. But that's not saying much from the standard set last year. So you have a defense that you're grinding game in and game out, no matter who you play, to hopefully allow them to kick enough field goals to win. So between age and that grind, you're declining. Now you have an offense that's coming up, but at the same time, how much are they coming up? And will it matter when they play that quality competition? Because the Jets, like you said, we're looking at the Jets in a totally different way. Oh man, they look fun today. I'm interested to see what they do next week because I don't expect anything from them. The expectations are really low. The expectations with the Steelers are you have a 30-year-old TJ Watt, you have a 50-year-old
So win now expectations.
you know, you have a 52-year-old Aaron Rodgers, you know. So it's like this team is they make the playoffs and they never have a losing season. What are your expectations? Are you happy with just mediocre or do you want to see a championship? So if we're talking about do I have championship expectations? Not yet, not even close. I think they will be better than they were last year, but how much is that really saying? You know, so it's I didn't come away really feeling any too much different. I think the quarterback position will be better. A-Rod looked way better than he did all last year. Hopefully he continues. Now, if he continues that trend and continues that level of play, then we have something to talk about. Because yes, now David, those players that we added and things like that, yeah, they do come into play and they do matter. But right now, I'm not expecting too much from those guys. Yeah,
Too early.
too early.
Too early. All right.
Well, that's what we're here
David,
for.
Dale,
I'm going off 1 week.
All right. Well, hey,
What?
David and Dale, appreciate you guys hopping on. We will catch you guys on the next show. We'll see you guys soon. We're going to welcome back Dan in here for our last segments. Bengals and Browns. This was a typical Bengals opening game. Their offense was not in rhythm at all, despite them playing together in the preseason. The Browns were very frisky in this game, but didn't score touchdowns when they needed to. Key missed field goal, offense stalling out at the end when they didn't need to with the dropped pass that led to an interception. Right, it just feel like the Browns basically had every opportunity to win this game, and the Bengals walked away with a W. Dan, what did you see in this one? Is this a long term, like concern for the Bengals? Or are you just happy they won an opening game?
Yeah, no, that's just let's take it one step at a time. They finally won an opening game. It's been how long? How long has it been under
Like
Zach
3
Taylor?
years.
Yeah, so let's take it one step at a time. But my main takeaway today is do the Bengals finally have a defense? That's the week one overreaction.
Week
16
one,
points
all
allowed,
right.
two interceptions, 2 sacks, 0 points given up on the last 5 drives. Do they have a defense, or was it just because they played the Browns?
I think it's just because the Browns a little bit, Dan. Because
Yeah.
this is another game I didn't get to watch too much of, but I saw that the Browns doubled the Bengals up in first downs, 22-11. They massively outgained them in yardage. It's the corpse of Joe Flacco and friends out there. So I think that if we see the Bengals have this type of performance, like fundamentally against the Ravens or somebody, it might get nasty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm with you.
I mean, the Browns had a great plan for Jamar Chase and the Bengals offense. They really did. Like, Joe Burrow had his typical hold the ball too long type of game, took sacks when he didn't need to. The offensive line was not good. They were horrible in the ground game. Zach Taylor wasn't great. Jamar Chase got triple teamed. Like, this was the type of game they got on offense. And, they showed that with 17 points, and they struggled throughout the entire day. Nothing was easy for the Bengals the
Yeah.
entire game, except for the first drive. They had a solid first drive. Outside of that, the Bengals offense was not.
They had less than 10 yards in the fourth quarter.
Let's
That's
go.
ridiculous.
Let's go, Cincy. Defensively, I'm going to agree with Brady on this aspect. And I think the biggest thing with, them beating up on the Browns too is partly like the Browns just getting into a key situation and realizing like, oh, we're really close to like getting over the hump and taking a lead late here. And they kind of just like offensive line doesn't block a guy, sack. They're out of field goal range. They're in a field goal to take the lead. Rookie kicker misses a kick, right? Cedric Tillman going to get a game-winning drive. The Bengals go 3 and out, all right, and give the Browns the ball back with a chance to win. Gives the ball to the defense. Like, there were so many opportunities the Browns had, it felt like, and they were moving the ball okay. It wasn't efficient by any means. I think the Bengals secondary did a good job of limiting stuff down the field from the Browns, but I think it is what it is. Like, you're right. They should be happy with a win overall. And,
Yeah.
just the Bengals walking out 1-0. Let's just start there and see how it moves.
That's
But
a good
for all
start.
the
Yeah.
hype of, Joe Burrow playing in the preseason, this team's going to come out
He's the
sharper.
MVP.
Like, social media's quarterback.
He's the
And
best thrower
You're
of the football in the league.
the Bengals were not ready out of the gates, and I feel like it's partly due to their coaching staff not necessarily figuring out how to prepare these guys.
How do
But
they always start so slow every year? I don't get it. And I will say, like, we say they're happy to have the win. If you watch the quarterback series on Netflix this summer, Joe Burrow is absolutely not happy at all with the way that they played
Oh,
today.
yeah.
And here's the thing, though, is like, no offense, Brady, but the Bengals get cakewalk games in week one. The NFL is handing them wins. Is this a conspiracy we need to think about now with the week one Bengals?
I honestly don't know what's going on. I think they could line up against, your high school. I think they could line up against the Seahawks at the school that you coach at, and they struggle in week one. So.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But heading into Monday night's matchup, Bears, Vikings. I'm interested. The Lions offense without Ben Johnson. Listen, Lions fans.
I'm about to say, if
scapegoated
Ben Johnson is that influential,
Listen, the Lions fans scapegoated Ben Johnson, said, we don't need this guy. We don't like Ben Johnson. They scapegoated
which was
him
so
out of
stupid, by
Detroit.
the way. Ben Johnson didn't make Jared
Unbelievable.
Goff turn the ball over 4 times.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But listen, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see what version we get of Caleb Williams in this game. I think they're going to run the ball pretty well against the Vikings run defense. I think is going to be a little bit overhyped heading into this one, considering who they added in free agency. Dan, I'll start with you. What are your big players or X factors you're looking forward to watching in this one?
Just the coordinators go at it. Well, not coordinator. Head coach Ben Johnson versus the DC Brian Flores. They've gone at it in the NFC North for a couple years now, and they had some battles. So I think Flores is gonna play a lot of one-on-one. Oh, I don't know if he will against this group. So that's what I want to watch. What defense is he playing? Is he playing zone? I'm sure he's gonna pressure Caleb because Caleb doesn't handle it well. So I'm sure he's gonna come after him. Caleb's gonna have to stay poised and hit the open guy. Jared Goff was pretty good at that when they played at home or on the road last year. It was one-on-one, St. Brown across the middle, and he just trusted his receivers. So
I think
Brian
that guy
Flores is
might
going
be
to bring some
DJ
heat.
Moore for them too.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to see what Flores does against Ben Johnson's offense.
Brady, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a story of the new look Bears offense versus the new look Vikings offense. I know Caleb's not new, but you've got Ben Johnson, which is night and day from the play calling you had last year. Then you got JJ McCarthy, who's a big question mark on the Vikings offense. I know the nucleus for the Vikings is in place. Won't have Jordan Addison. He's got the 3-game suspension to start the year. You do have Jordan Mason added in the backfield, and then you bulked up the offensive line a little bit, which throughout the entirety of the year last year was really good. Top 5 in pass block win rate. I know they kind of collapsed over the last 2 games against Detroit and LA, but overall, pretty good unit. JJ McCarthy has all the tools at his disposal to succeed with Kevin O'Connell calling the plays. It's all going to come down to him. It literally just comes down to what JJ McCarthy looks like. And Caleb Williams, I was really kind of feeling a year 2 rise from him. But after this story that broke about him this weekend, I'm like a little bit doubtful of like that.
Don't buy into the story stuff.
Come on. Let's be real. It was some damning
was
stuff
eye-opening.
in that story.
Yeah,
Like
eye-opening.
it shows you just a little bit of kind of Caleb's attitude. And I feel like there is something to be said. I don't know Caleb Williams. I'm not in the building, but the way that he comes off, it's not hard to buy a story that says he says he wants to be great, but he doesn't take the necessary steps to be great. And for Ben Johnson, it might just be about making the shortcuts easy for him because he might just be the kind of guy that wants to take the shortcuts. So we shall see. But it's in Minnesota, correct?
No, it's in
No,
Chicago.
It's in Chicago. Oh, I thought it was in
Yeah.
Minnesota. I'm still taking the Vikes. I think the talent is still a little bit of a disparity. I think that Ben Johnson and company will have some fun plays. I think they'll keep it close, but I think I'm gonna go with Minnesota still. They're the experienced team. They just won 13, 14 games last season.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the Vikings, but I'm pretty sure Shane Waldron leaked
Oh.
that story about Caleb Williams. We'll have to double check our sources, but
Oh,
I think Waldron might be the guy that leaked that stuff about Caleb. I would
tinfoil
not
hat.
be surprised.
The organization is just kind of bad because you saw the Ryan Poles story that came out too, or like was
I
part of
didn't
that
see
story.
that one.
So it was Ryan Poles, I guess, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not victory lapping Drake May stuff here, but they said that he was watching Drake May's tape with the other Bears brass front office guys and such. And he was like laughing at Drake May, saying he's not worth the 1st-round pick. This guy really sucks, like laughing at him. And then one of the Bears scouts spoke up and was like, these North Carolina receivers aren't good. These Drake May throws are crazy. Watch this. And he turned on like a cut up, and Ryan Poles like got super pissed and like pretty much exiled this guy from the meeting for questioning him. And I guess it just seems like a lot of organizational structure is not the best in Chicago. But hey, we'll see. Ben
Never
Johnson
has
might
been.
turn it around. He might change the vibe. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I know that
That's why I think
Bears
Eric
have it's
Bieniemy
been a
is
struggle
actually
for a
such
long
an
time.
underrated hire for them because he's such like a drill master that he's not an X's and O's guy by any means. Eric Bieniemy, we've seen that play out now over some time, but he's a guy that's going to be very accountable for the guys on the offensive side of the ball, right? I mean, he would chew Patrick Mahomes out on live TV, and him and Mahomes would get at it. Imagine what he's going to do, right? If someone's not accountable in Chicago, which they basically all their players weren't last year.
Right.
I think that's great for them to have a guy like that in there. So I think the coaching staff is in place for Chicago to be successful. We'll see if these group of guys can get it. I'm worried about that defense against the Vikings offense that I think is going to have a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. So I'm taking the Vikings in that one. Shout out to all of you guys that made it through this hour and 30-minute live
Hey,
stream.
real quick, one quick thing, Ryan, real quick. It's a big injury. Harrison Smith is out tomorrow.
He is out. Harrison Smith is out. And I think that maybe a deep shot, Romo Dunze type play could be interesting for them overall in that matchup. But yeah, hey, listen, appreciate all you guys making it to the end of the Blitz Angle tonight. Drop a comment down below your biggest week 1 reaction. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content, and we will catch you guys next time.
Yes, sir.